this is Rick Caselge, injury specialist from exercisesforinjuries.com. I want to welcome you to today's YouTube video. And in today's YouTube video, what I want to go through are the 3 best and worst exercises for knee pain. Now I'm going to bring Kaya up and we're going to start going through the exercises, and we're going to start off with the first one, which is deadlift. And I'll get Kaya to demonstrate the deadlift movement. And I'll get her to do 2 repetitions. That's 1. And then that's 2. So Kaya's starting off nice and tall and standing. So head, shoulders, hips, legs are in a straight line. And then looking at the legs, they're underneath the hips, so they're not together, they're not wide. And then Kaya has her weight even on the feet, a little, or maybe a little bit more on the midfoot or the heel. And then she's going to soften up the knees, bend through the hips, keep the hips, shoulders, and head in alignment, and ideally come down to a point where she's like parallel to the floor, and then come back up. Then she'll move into the next repetition, and then with this one, what we're really focusing on is core, glutes, hamstrings, and isometrically working the muscles around the knee. Perfect. So with this one, looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity that I would get someone to start off with, sets would be 1, repetitions would be 10, time would be smooth controlled movement with a good stop at the end position, intensity want to be in the moderate side of things, and the purpose of this exercise is we're working on the core, we're working on separating the upper and lower body, we're working the glutes and the hamstring muscles, and we're also isometrically strengthening the muscles around the knee. So other reasons why, so highlighting the reasons why I like this exercise for knee pain is you're targeting the glutes, and having strong glutes really helps when it comes to preventing knee pain and overcoming knee pain. Secondly, I also like the fact that you're isometrically working the muscles around the knee. So you're not, and what isometric means is the muscles are contracting, but there is no movement or change in range of motion at that joint. And that's what's exactly happening at the knee. And isometric contraction is a safe contraction. The muscles are working, but there's no movement, so it's a low risk a contraction and exercise. Okay, so that covers the best one. Now going through the worst, so it will be a squat, and we'll go through the bad squat first. Okay, 1 repetition. Now going to the second one, I'll point out what is the big thing is the knees passing the toes. Now when that happens, when the knees pass the toes, you get 2 things happening, and I'll get you to stand up because it's a lot of stress on the knees. First is like the kneecap being pressed up against the knee joint. The deeper you go, in your movement, also having those knees past the toes, you get greater stress on that kneecap up against that knee joint, and not good stress, but bad stress. Secondly, you get an increase in stress within that knee joint, and it increases as you go deeper in the squat. So what we want to do is try to eliminate or decrease that unnecessary stress on those 2 areas. Okay, so we want to try to keep those knees back and turn this bad exercise into a good exercise. Good, and back. So it's 1 repetition. Now the second repetition, you really see that Kaya's working really hard to keep the knees back and behind the toes. And then what that does is she brings the hips back. We're getting more movement happening in the hip and less movement happening in the knee. And then she's coming back up. So we want to turn that bad exercise into a good exercise. So really trying to remember that technique of bringing the knees back. Now, doing that movement once or twice is not going to be the end of the world, and it's not going to destroy your knees. But if you do it for repetitions, so a number of repetitions over a period of time. So let's say you're doing 3 sets of 10 or 5 sets of 15. You're doing a lot of repetitions that putting unnecessary stress on your knee. The second thing is that stress even increases even more when you add load on your back, load on your hands. That increases the stress even more. So we want to make sure that we tweak things, modify that technique, and do the and turn that exercise from bad exercise into a good exercise. Okay, so that's the worst one. Now going back up to the best. Number 2, the best, is the single leg step up. Good, it's 1 repetition, and then second repetition. Good, and back down. Okay, so maybe I'll get you over here so you're facing this way. So I really like this exercise and how it's broken down. You're standing nice and upright, head, shoulders, hips, legs in a straight line. Legs are underneath the hips. Kaya's going to step up and bring 1 foot on. So she has her weight on that back foot. Now she's going to move her weight to her front foot and move up and then reverse it. And then bring the feet together. Then she's going to switch sides and go back up and back down. Now, breaking things down, we're just using a riser. These are kind of common in a fitness center and in a clinical setting. You can also use stairs at your house as well. Ideally is the steps at the bottom of the stairs. Exercise at the top of the stairs is a really bad idea. And it does sound funny, but in a gym I used to work at, there used to be a second floor, and people would do exercise at the top of the stairs, and it was cement stairs, and it was, no one wiped out, but you could have, that was the fear running through my head whenever I saw anyone doing exercise at the top of the stairs. So bottom of the stairs, other things that you can use is like a bench, like a bench from a gym. That'll increase the intensity, make the exercise harder. Now, why I like this, Kaya can step up, just bringing the foot up, and maybe we'll go with the other foot. So yeah, there we go. So she's stepping up. What we're working here is we're working the knee. We're working the knee in like the top 30 degrees, 45 degrees, which is the most common range of motion that we utilize. And with this, she's working the muscles above and below the knee, and then she's also working the glutes and the hamstrings, mainly the glutes, to bring herself up. So I'll get you to come up top and back down. Okay, good. And so I really like this exercise because we're working the muscles around that knee, working the muscles safely around that knee, but then we're also working the glutes and the hamstrings, and we're doing a movement that's kind of common and what we have to do, throughout the day, which is like, walking forward or like walking up and down stairs. Okay, and looking if, as an exercise, the sets and reps that I would give someone would be, sets would be 1, repetitions, I start off 5 on each side, so a total of 10. Intensity moderate. Purpose of the exercise, we've kind of gone through that. Sets, reps, time, intensity, okay, we kind of covered it all. Now moving on to the worst exercise, number 2, that would be lunge. So I'll get Kaya to go through the bad lunge. Good, and back, so it's 1 repetition, and then with a second repetition I'll highlight it. Once again, it's having that knee past the toes. Perfect, and back up. Same with the knees passing the toes, we get the same problem as we had with the squat. With the knees passing the toes, we get greater stress of that kneecap up against that knee joint, and also within that knee joint, then you add repetitions, so more and more repetitions, and then you add load, and all of those make it worse. So it can either lead to knee pain, it can irritate knee pain, or it can lead to a full-blown injury. So we want to turn the bad exercise into a good exercise. So what we're doing is trying to keep that knee back. Good. So we want to, ideally, we want to have that knee stacked over the ankle. And then Kaya can come up, okay, and then back down. Good, and then you'd move back up and back down. So it works a lot better with that knee stacked over the ankle. We're working the muscles more around that knee joint. And then with the back leg, we're utilizing the glutes and the hamstrings. So if that little modification it turns that bad exercise into a good exercise. Okay, moving on to the third one, single leg balance. Good. You always laugh, but you do good. You do good. You do great. Okay, and back down. So that's it. That's the end position. So what Kaya is doing, standing nice and upright, head, shoulders, hips, legs in a straight line. Then she's going to shift her weight from both feet to one and lifting one leg up. Good. So with this one, she's really working the foot and the ankles, which is great, which is excellent for proprioception, which is like knowing where your body part is in space. We're working the calf, working the muscles around the knee, working on keeping that pelvis square. We're working on strengthening that hip. Okay, you can bring that leg back down, and then we'll switch sides. Good. So that's why I really like it. Really working on the proprioception of the foot and the ankle. We're isometrically working the muscles around the knee and around the hip. So it's a safe exercise and it's an effective exercise. So that's it, Kai. Thank you. Now looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity. Sets would be 1. Repetitions, I would start off with 2 repetitions. So 2 on each side. You can alternate back and forth. Time, we want to build to in that 10 seconds to 30 seconds range. The intensity is light because it's a balance exercise, and we really want to focus on safety with this one. We're not, if we're gonna tumble over, you're not going to try to fight. You're not going to try to fight it. You want to be safe. If you don't have great balance, you can move closer to the wall and have the wall there to help you out. And we kind of talked about the purpose of it. Now moving to the last one, when it comes to the worst exercise, this is a leg extension machine. So if you go in a community center or gym, it's a machine that you sit down in. You get a bar in front of your shins, and then you straighten your legs out. So with that one, it goes with the same problem as the other two. You get a lot of stress with that kneecap up against that knee joint, and then also within that knee joint. And same thing, as we increase repetitions, as we increase load or resistance, we get more stress and not great stress. So if I was looking at strengthening my lower body or strengthening my knees, it wouldn't be the first exercise I would go to. I would go to more of a squat and lunge, squat or leg press to start off with, then a leg extension. Leg extension does have a role when it comes to rehabilitation or recovering from a full-blown knee injury, but I find it makes knee pain worse than better. So there you go. That covers the best and worst exercises for knee pain. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please do leave them down below. My team's always checking them and responding to them. If you got benefit from this video, make sure to like this video. If you have, like I said, any questions or comments or ideas for other YouTube videos, please do leave them down below. Now that's it. This is Rick Casals from exercisesforinjuries.com saying take care and bye-bye.